Let's do this. To the world of the virtual athlete, where it's man against man, but somebody must get beat. You gotta be man enough to bring that heat, and if you ain't ready to ball, and you should take that seat. From the rooftops of New York to West Palm Beach, you gotta be a fanatic or a b-ball freak. AI crosses you so fast you thought you would sleep, with the speed of Supernatural when he's spitting on beats, with the precision of Kobe when he's draining from deep. These are true platinum players with games that sweet. Where you go, motto we motto for the ultimate test. T-Mac never the whack, he be coming correct. Ball on 300 for yacht with courts on the deck, then take a dip in the pool after breaking a sweat. This is NBA ballers, when it's on then it's on, where the players invite you into their mansions and homes. You might even see a Hummer on some 20s and chromes. It's like Shaq's in a nightmare when he goes in his zone. When Latrell got the rock, never leave him alone. You better guard the basket like a dog does a bone. So many different players, old school varieties. It's like they ball in an underground society. So get in the game, start doing your thing, and when you go to the rack, make sure you bring pain. Nothing but true players, all of the top guys. The one that brought you arch rivals gave you a new vibe. I know you was a fan of NBA jams. He's on fire when the mic's in his hand. We took it to the concrete instead of the hard pine, with titles like Hang Time, even the Showtime. And I'm Supernatural, you can ball with me. So let's ball and see who can be the MVP.
NBA Street is often brought up to this day as one of the most iconic sports video game franchises of all time. And rightfully so. The Street titles were not only fantastic games, but they were also incredibly popular, and they made a lot of money. So when Midway announced NBA Ballers, many were skeptical. At first, it seemed like a ripoff of NBA Street, with similar over-the-top streetball gameplay, but those thoughts vanished after the game released. Ballers was not just unique, it was special. Take Midway's iconic NBA Jam series, but modernize it with some of the best graphics you'll see from the PS2 and original Xbox generation, and you have NBA Ballers. The presentation in this game was exceptional. The gameplay was disrespectful in the best way. Unlike NBA Street, NBA Ballers featured one-on-one gameplay, where you could bounce the basketball off the face of your opponent before posterizing him. The game's soundtrack was full of excellent hip-hop from that era, the commentary was great, and this game was also pretty deep. You could buy a car, a house, and more. You not only get to experience the high of dominating opponents on the court, but you also get to experience the riches that come with it off the court. This was no ripoff. NBA Ballers was an evolution of basketball video games, and in 2024, there's no longer anything like it. From breaking the game with Peja Stojakovic to posterizing and blocking anyone who dared to take on Kevin Garnett, to creating your own character and gaining fame, notoriety, and fortune, this was the definitive street basketball experience. Let's take a look back at one of the greatest basketball video games of all time, NBA Ballers. It's from a different era, but for sports gaming, it was a better era.
Hey y'all, I'm Bonnie Jill Laslin, and I'm here at this incredible mansion for the release of NBA Ballers. And before this place gets jamming and slamming, I'm gonna take you for a private tour. So are you ready for the ultimate b-ball experience? Let's go.
Guys, subscribe to my channel so I can buy a crib like this. I only need a couple million more subs. Gameplay was focused on 1v1 over-the-top duels between two players, with the default setup being best 2 out of 3, score 11 points first to win a round, or play until the 2-minute clock expires. These short, condensed one-on-one matches are awesome for a sports game, and I think it would translate to modern online gaming well if it still existed today. Like in Midway's NBA Jam, you can push and shove your opponent, but you only get 4 free fouls. After that, the refs actually start calling them. There are a lot of unique rules to this game, but they are easy to follow and result in a balanced, exciting match. A small guard might have a lot of dribble moves and be better at shooting outside, while a big man would lock down the paint and posterize his opposition. With a large roster of NBA players, there are a lot of combinations to play with, but the most broken player in this game has to be Peja Stojakovic. Shout out to Kofi for making a video on how broken he was. He could shoot threes better than any player in the game, and he was quick enough to run to the perimeter and get a shot off before his opponent even knew what was happening. Spamming threes in NBA Ballers wasn't meant to happen, since back then, long-range jump shots weren't as common, but it breaks the game and makes it super easy. If you're looking for a more balanced experience, don't use Stojakovic, but it had to be mentioned. NBA Baller Stojakovic is up there with Madden 04 Mike Vick and MVP Baseball 05 John Dowd. By holding down the turbo button and trying different button combinations, you can mess around with a lot of different moves, making this almost feel like a fighting game inside of a basketball game with the sheer amount of moves and combinations. Chaining moves together and embarrassing your opponent by dribbling between his legs, for example, is how you succeed in this game. Sort of like NBA Street, there's a meter called the house meter that goes up with every score and successful chain of moves. Once it gets filled all the way up, the crowd chants "Juice House," encouraging you to perform an insane dunk that shatters the backboard and wins you the match immediately. When playing with friends, Ballers becomes a mad scramble to see who can perform more moves and fill up their house meter first. It's awesome. Rags to Riches is the main game mode where you create a player with a surprisingly detailed editor and then play through a tournament against NBA stars and legends. With each game, your player gets upgrades and can unlock tattoos, clothing, and a whole lot more, such as cars and houses. And the best part is that unlocking new things is pretty easy and simply comes from playing the game. No microtransactions here. The other main game mode is called TV Tournament. Here you play as an NBA player and play some themed games to earn more points for more unlockables. Some tournaments will have you face a team's most iconic players one by one, while another lets you play against a group of first overall picks, for example. While these modes aren't anything crazy, the amount of players, clothing, cars, cribs, and more is vast, giving you solid motivation to keep playing and unlock more and more items. This, combined with the solid gameplay, results in an awesome experience. There are over 80 players you can unlock in this game as well. The presentation and graphics are the highlights of NBA Ballers. For an original Xbox game, look at how detailed these player models are. Compared to NBA Live and NBA 2K from this time period, Ballers simply looks much better. The detail might not blow you away in 2024, but relative to its time, these are fantastic graphics. The commentary, crowd noise, and overall feel of the game's presentation within a match is excellent, and the soundtrack was full of bangers from that era. NBA Ballers was a street ball vibe, and there's just nothing like it. The last NBA Ballers title released in 2008, but it wasn't nearly as good as the previous ones. Midway then filed for bankruptcy a year later, and we never got another NBA Ballers title after that. The closest we've gotten since is 2K's pay-to-win park. I think I speak for everyone when I say that we need a new game like NBA Street or NBA Ballers. Imagine a truly good street ball game, without all the VC and microtransactions, with balanced, fun gameplay and modern online game modes. A game that shows the continued evolution of hip-hop and basketball culture with respect to the sport, players, and moments that came before. I would buy a game like that in a heartbeat, wouldn't you? NBA Ballers is a blast from the past that still plays and looks great today in 2024. It may not be as well known as NBA Street, but it's arguably an even better game, and it's one of the most underrated sports games I've come across. I felt compelled to make this video because this game was so well made, so much fun, and it checked every box. It has great graphics, great presentation, great game modes, and great gameplay. Despite all of this, I rarely hear anyone today bring up NBA Ballers, but you know what? NBA Ballers was a masterpiece. Thanks for watching.